that.
We're like, okay.
We are live.
Senate Appropriations, May 7th. We're going through bills. First bill we have is H577, establishing RX card. We're waiting for ledge council, but there is a fiscal note and we have the author of the fiscal note. Well, so I wondered if you would talk to us about the fiscal impact, which I think is pretty brief.
Very brief. I'll be brief. We have the treasurer here, fill in blanks as well. Treasurer's office representative. For the record, Noel and I will join fiscal office. So the bill has a fiscal note because it appropriates $50,000 from the general fund to the office of the treasurer for their costs of developing and implementing this particular program. And I know we're getting the cart before the horse on this, but it was determined in other states that the success or the failure of these kind of programs hinge on getting the word out. And so there was $3,000 appropriated to help them get up to speed and do whatever they need to do to start getting the word out. So, and the House was carrying this in their budget conference.
And I think we put it in our budget construct. So there's no other, it was just that $50,000.
That's it. That's the only piece. There's this fund that's created or reconstituted, but that's finance issue.
Do you know how many other states are doing this?
I would defer to the treasurer's office on the details of the program and who's doing what. I'm just here to tell you this.
Or maybe Senator Lyons knows, but do you want to know?
No, I don't know. I don't have my folder with me, but there are a number of states. It began in Oregon and Washington. And the treasurer's office would kind of be the best to talk about all the states. Connecticut is doing it. Rhode Island.
How many states?
Nevada, Arizona.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You know,
Peter Traube, Office of State Treasurer. There are 6 states that are members of the collaborative. 5 participate in the prescription drug discount card program. Those are Arizona, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, and Connecticut.
Oh, Rhode Island hasn't joined yet.
Not yet.
We'll join in that. And it's a by joining these other states, the cost comes down because you're a bigger pool of participants, or is it because they're buying the drugs? What would that mean?
Over time, I would imagine the fee structure for this program specifically would come down as more states join. It's the sort of combined market power of these states that are able to then, through a PBM that reports the collaborative, negotiate these price options for their investments.
Okay. I don't guess.
Is this a one-time allocation or? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's to educate Vermont about the availability of the Array RX card. And so that they know that they can take it to, and to also work with our prescription card and pharmacists. So everybody knows that this is out there. These are the drugs that are covered, and you can take it on your phone or take
a payment card, or just like I'm part of this program.
I'm part of this program, so you get the lower cost on the drugs that are covered. And the drugs that are covered are established within the collaborative in Oregon right now is the place for doing some of
There
them.
might be more drugs over time.
Everybody wants more drugs over time.
So I don't know.
So who's eligible for these cards?
Everybody,
Meaning everybody, meaning
every citizen of the state of Vermont.
Mr. Trumley, would you like to sit in the
Vermont,
seat?
you should let the
The chair
treasurer
like
talk.
anything about them?
Give you
Sure.
So we can
good overview.
People have questions.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Peter Traube, Office of the State Treasurer. I have a presentation I could run through, but I'm also just happy to answer questions ad hoc. The card entitles you to a discounted price on all FDA-approved medications. Price varies for different medications, as well as certain over-the-counter items as well. The eligibility is open to any Vermont resident. So in order to apply and receive your card, you need to enter your name and a valid Vermont address. And then you can receive the card either in the mail or digitally by email as well.
So a valid Vermont resident.
And there's no fee.
There is no fee to join. When you pay for a drug within the advertised price, which you can search ahead of time online, a portion of that money is remitted to the collaborative to pay for their operating costs. That budget is set by all the states that are members, and any leftover funds are returned to the states for the purposes of marketing the program in those states.
So I did one follow-up question, Peter. So what What's the definition of a Vermont resident? Somebody moves from another state, is in Vermont. I thought you had to be here 6 months to obtain a residency in the state of Vermont.
So the program's standards for residency are different from like our statutes standards for residency. So the program will issue you a card if you have a Vermont address. There's no costs to the program for you to use that card, so there's no harm in issuing it to any individual. So all they do to verify eligibility is they verify that your address is a real and valid address.
So Tim Smith, PO Box 16, I get use of the card.
I'm not
You know,
sure.
Franklin
I have to ask if a PO box works or if it needs to be a physical address, but yes, essentially it's that easy to sign
I'm
up.
not Joe for that. Not Tim.
It's that easy to sign up for a card.
So you just like, and who pays on the other end for these prescriptions over here, this medicine?
You still pay for it.
You pay for the
The
medication.
card just gives you the discount.
give you a discount. Like any other, you know, like Good RX and any other cards that you have, or you might have one from your insurance coverage. It just which drugs are covered through that program.
What's the one-time fee?
One time $50,000, which we would like to use to essentially do paid media advertising for the program. We have a couple of community partners who we've talked with about assisting in outreach for the program. But the number one lesson that Connecticut shared with us is that they received no appropriation when they started this program, and they saw, I think, less than 1% of their population sign up in the first few years. So they encouraged us to ask for appropriation.
And can the state negotiate directly with the drug manufacturers for prices? Is that how?
So this is not a negotiation. This program of ArrayRx's programs is not a direct negotiation with the manufacturers. The state would have a seat on the steering committee that handles the negotiations through the pharmacy benefit manager that reports to that steering committee that's contracted with the steering committee.
So since it's not direct, because my recollection from past discussions of the state isn't allowed to negotiate this.
Yeah, this would not constitute as a direct negotiation with the state.
Because you're going through the program manager.
Pharmacy benefit.
Yes. Okay. So if the feds were to ever do this, they could have a federal card.
I suppose. You know, this program's been operating for over 20 years in certain states, and they haven't had an issue with.
Why wouldn't other states join?
They only opened it for other states to join in the last 3 years. So, and since then, you've seen 4 states join.
Who's they?
So the collaborative originally began between Washington and Oregon. So those 2 states were running this program together, and then they decided a few years ago that they should open it up for other states to join.
Assuming that more states that join, the better discount that they should negotiate. Okay. Any other questions?
Do you have a question?
Yes.
So, do you need a separate card for a minor?
I shouldn't think so. That question has not come up though, and I can ask, but there's no. But I'll double check if there's any.
Okay, I just be curious.
For minor.
For minor, like, you know, it's every resident.
Prescription drugs. You're a
Yeah.
child.
But if you have a kid who needs a prescription drug, you're the parent or guardian, you can.
So it's
pick up the
under-
drug And you can use your card.
So it wouldn't be, like, you wouldn't need a separate one for, like, a insurance card or something.
Oh,
So one allow minor to go and buy it on, bro? That's what it just happened.
absolutely.
It wouldn't be, I mean, there's no cost to having a card, so, I mean, if you're the parent or guardian of the child, it would make no difference if your child had the card.
And so it doesn't matter if it's for you or if it's for family.
Does the card have a person's name on it, or just the card that says, oh?
That's a good question. I don't know if the card has the name off the top of my head.
Some drugs center lines, if the card will have the person's name on it? Or is it just like, here's mine, it's like having a coupon?
I think it's a coupon. What is it, Peter?
It says here, in looking at their materials, it does have their name on it, I'm seeing here. And each user can sign up and get their own unique user ID, although, you know, if the parent or guardian can legally purchase the drug, I wouldn't see any reason they could legally purchase it with their discount card and then administer it to their child.
Including online, if they just have the.
Yeah, you can get the card instantaneously if you sign up online.
Okay.
Great.
Well, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to pass the bill favorably.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Here,
It's the seventh.
it is. See it day, I know.
Okay, we should be there in May. 517. 577, sorry. So, Senator Baruch. Senator Brennan, yes. Senator Lyons,
Yeah.
Senator Doris,
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Westman. Senator Perchler. Yes. Just hold it. For a minute, I don't think, I mean, Westminster, this is committee,
Right at you.
but
You were hiding.
5-0, 5-0-1, 5-0-2. I think that's okay. I think it's gonna hurt us on the floor and
Anybody want to record it?
it's like, you know, the most about it.
I'm happy.
So we can make Peter record
With Nolan's terrific fiscal note.
it. That's how this. Okay. Are you telling Jeffrey?
Yes.
Oh, she's on the next one.
Thank you, Peter.
There was a roll call on H577. And two of the members were listed as absent. Or whatever happened.
You want to vote for it?
Absolutely.
That's up to the
It
board.
was unanimous out of health and welfare, right?
Yeah,
And we had already
Can I
had the
vote?
money. We could vote, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to talk to the clerk.
It's gonna be fine.
The clerk has been. You lost your opportunity. Councilor Carvey, you could join us.
all right, great.
Well, but by 8:61. Miscellaneous.
Wow.
Control does not have. Is there a fiscal? There's not a fiscal.
Mhm.
So why are they all your bills?
Because we work hard.
Okay.
Somebody else is reporting.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for your patience. Jen Harvey from the Office of Legislative Counsel. And just soon you would like language up on the screen. We are looking at H611, an act relating to miscellaneous provisions affecting the Department of Vermont Health Access. The most part, the bill as recommended by Senate Health and Welfare is the same as passed by House with a few instances of amendment. So I will show you what is in, I can do very high level, I think, if you'd like, what is in the bill and then the amendment. Is that committee would like?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it can be very high because
Great. So section 1 takes the Department of Vermont Health Access out of some provisions around reporting drugs with large price increases as part of existing transparency work, because the drug pricing in Medicaid is significantly different from other parts of the healthcare system. Section 2 repeals some language, takes some language out that was passed last year around prohibitions on manufacturers of prescription drugs discriminating against certain 340B covered entities. The specific language about whether the discount is through is at the time of purchase or in the form of a rebate is something that is the subject of litigation that we are engaged in, and indications from the federal government are that that may not be within our authorities. This would repeal that. Section 3 makes some changes to the membership of the Medicaid and Exchange Advisory Committee, including requiring it to include also members who are also members of newly federally required beneficiary advisory committee.
does that change per diem? Sir?
It takes off there's currently a sort of unlimited number right now. The total membership is at least 22 members and it must include certain people. So I'm not sure it changes anything in that regard. As far as who the members are, it's mostly some terminology changes to that double appointment and striking language about reappointing members to serve more than one term. These were all requests from the Department of Vermont Access. Well, mostly the ones in this section. Section 4 relating to reflective health benefit plans is making a conforming change to reflect the separation of the individual and small group insurance markets last year. So reflective health benefit plans only really make sense in the context of silver loading, if you're familiar with that. And so that only applies to individuals and not small groups. Section 5 makes some changes to the Clinical Utilization Review Board. It does have the board now a minimum of 10 members and not exactly 10 members. That was a request to give more flexibility. Section 6 strikes language in the bee farmer statutes specific to the calculation of household income, which the language in existing law specifies would be calculated using modified adjusted gross income. It's my understanding it's never been calculated that way. And so this is striking out that reference. The program will continue to be operated as it has been. Section 7 seems like has money in it, but it doesn't actually have money in it. Section 7 is an increase to prepaid burial arrangements for Medicaid eligibility purposes. And this is subject to federal approval, would direct the Agency of Human Services to amend its rules and procedures so that people applying for or receiving Medicaid can put more money into their irrevocable prepaid funeral arrangement without losing their eligibility or not being eligible for Medicaid. So it allows them to maintain slightly more assets from 10,000 to 15,000 in an irrevocable prepaid funeral
So it's
arrangement.
not that Medicaid funding is going to pay for
Exactly.
prepaid.
Exactly.
It's
It's
just
allowing them to keep more of their own money or to put or have put more money into their own irrevocable
You know,
beneficiary.
you have more money, so you don't
Yeah.
qualify for.
Exactly.
That's-
Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't
Counterfeit
obligate additional
asset.
state funds.
Yeah.
It allows somebody to have
Yeah.
up to $5,000 more in their irrevocable prepaid funeral arrangement. And then it does specify that if there's money left in that account after they have passed away, then Medicaid can recoup any amounts remaining in that account after expenses have been paid, up to the total amount that Medicaid paid in benefits.
If it's
So this
the
is,
life of the person or more.
yeah, I mean, it's, of whatever's left of the $10,000 or $15,000. So this is that concept of recouping amounts paid is consistent with negative long-term care estate recovery provisions. So that's not an overall new concept. Section 8 makes a date change for the date by which the Department of Vermont Health Access must seek a state plan amendment to allow Vermont's Medicaid program to provide coverage for doula services. Doula services doula coverage was that various committees, including this one, looked at last year and passed last year, but directed DEVA to seek as an amendment to our Medicaid state plan. They would like more runway to decide when the right time is to do that. And you'll see this section gets amended a little bit more in the amendment, just around carrying over that same delayed 2026 to 2027.
Because they haven't asked for the amendment yet, or they haven't
Coming up
heard back?
next year.
Right, they are still, I don't believe they have requested it yet. I think they're going to be mindful of when and how they approach the federal government for changes to our Medicaid program. And also there is ongoing work between DEVA and OPR on proper regulation of doulas.
You've got the proponent in here, you'd like to talking about the doulas.
So you'll see section 9 is also amending the effective date from last year's doula bill to have the Medicaid coverage take effect on the later of July 1st, 2027, rather than 2026, or approval of the state plan amendment. And what you'll see coming up in the health and welfare amendment right here is just to move that date in subsection A around the certification program at OPR also to 2027. And then this act, the bill itself, 611, would take effect on July 1st, 2026, although that will change in the amendment slightly as well. So now I'll put up the amendment so you can see the rest of what is recommended by health and welfare. So the first instance of amendment is taking out but putting back in that section on the 340B covered and 340B drug program. So you'll see we're still striking out subsection D, but this is also putting back in subsection B in order to amend it. The underlying law, existing law says drug manufacturer cannot require a 340B covered entity to submit specific data as a condition for allowing acquisition of the drug by or delivery of the drug to a 340B contract pharmacy. That was the issue that was the focus of the legislation last year. Now that this has gone into place, it seems there are issues with the 340B covered entities themselves, not just their contract pharmacies, being able to obtain these drugs without having to submit all of these data requirements. So some representatives of entities participating in the 340B program asked to have language specifying that this protection applies to the covered entities. The second instance of amendment is the one I was pointing out around the OPR doula certification, making dates, so changing that piece to 2027. And the third instance of amendment is a new section and has and a new effective date section, but a new section to the bill that would be amending a provision in the health insurance statutes around HIV prevention drugs. PrEP and HEP are sometimes referred to, they're pre-exposure and post-exposure prophylaxis drugs. And so this section, as I understand it, really, I think just codifies current practice in health insurance and Medicaid in the event that the provisions at the federal level that people are currently relying on in the state change. So this would require a health insurance plan to provide coverage for HIV pre-exposure prophylaxis drugs as recommended by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force as of a date certain in 2023, when they were and still currently are required to be covered by federal law without any cost sharing requirements. And then we always want to be careful we're not messing up a high deductible health plan if there's anything in the federal law that stops allowing that to be covered first dollar. And then for Medicaid, it would direct Medicaid and any other public health care assistance program offered or administered by the state or subdivision or instrumentality, except any program funded in whole or in part by federal grants that don't allow it, to provide coverage of HIV prevention drugs. So both the PrEP and the PEP and supportive health services, which was a defined term, and not require any cost sharing, provide coverage without requiring prior authorization or any other delays for at least one FDA approved drug in each category of pre and post exposure prophylaxis drugs, and not deny coverage based on the type of healthcare professional issuing prescription for a drug for which HIV prevention drug that Medicaid does not require prior authorization for, as long as they're a Medicaid participating provider acting within their the scope of their authorized practice. So my understanding is that all of that is how Medicaid currently covers medications. So there is not a change to the Medicaid coverage requirement, but just enshrining it in statute. And then, as you saw in the bills that came from the House, the act was taking effect on July 1st. We started putting certain provisions to take effect on passage and realized there's no reason the whole thing can't take effect on passage.
So there's no global commitment that we're matching percentages.
No changes to global commitment. No.
Okay. Any questions? Do you have a question, Wesley?
Yeah, I think I figured out what it does. The 340.
Oh, yeah, the 340B stuff.
You just gave them protections.
Right. You extended protections last year to the pharmacies they contract with, and there was one piece that the language last year did not specifically protect the entity itself, and they would like protection.
FQHC would be out of business without that pharmacy.
Exactly.
Right. Just a question on the part where you listed I think you listed a minimum of 10 members. But not a maximum. That's a per diem, isn't it? Those surveys.
I believe so, but I don't think there was not a fiscal.
Yeah.
Do we not list maximums? Yeah, you do.
Good.
I mean, I not care well, but you could end up with 30 people in a thing and not get any.
I don't recall the rationale from.
I'm kind of, I remember a little bit of it. It was mostly to have additional members when they're talking about specific topics. Is that one? There was a couple of different ones.
Let's see. I can tell you what their testimony talked about. Yes, they just said creating the flexibility for, recruiting more than the specified 10 members would support more robust participation in the clinical utilization review board, allow greater. Yeah, which, I mean, it does nothing on it, nothing from a financial standpoint, greater diversity of expertise, enhanced value.
So it's the commissioner that makes the appointments.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I think. If the department, yes, the department creates it. They're appointed by the governor upon recommendation of the commissioner.
I think they get a per diem.
I would think they do too. I don't think they're carved out.
It's not in here, but we don't have the whole bill. Yeah,
I mean, I think.
this is the one that has the minimum of 2 members.
No, this is the
No,
one
yeah.
that has 10 members, and I would say a minimum. The statute, I don't think there's anything that, every now and then you say they don't get paid. I think that they can get paid.
But the other one's similar, that you said that they have is a minimum of 22,
Right, that's existing statute.
so they could also have more than 22.
Mhm.
It's a big group.
And it's not even as big as the emergency provider group that exists. That's a
Well, I
good,
think
it's a good question.
They do get per diem to come out of the budget. Okay,
Yeah, suppose they come out of the department.
department, so they probably don't want to appoint more because then they pay more. I mean, there was a lot more, if you get the 50.
Yes, there's nothing there. I mean, it's silent, so I assume they fall under 32 basic 10 times.
Okay, any other questions on 611? No, Bill, remove right now.
What are we voting on? What's that?
You're just voting on,
Appropriations or?
there's no appropriations. We're not too sure why the bill's here even.
I know, I think the same thing happened in the House. I think partly the burial fund confuses the refer of the
Because it makes it
bills,
look like
because it makes it look like there's money, but.
Medicaid will spend it, but it's really just,
Right.
but it could be that they get more Medicaid benefits because they can have more
I
assets.
mean, but it's money that's locked up in a, I mean, it doesn't change the amount of services that they would need.
Right,
Just would
maybe
be that
they,
maybe a couple people would be, I don't even know if anybody would be eligible to be eligible slightly sooner. Maybe. Putting that money in the irrevocable.
another opportunity for your favorite word.
Wow, I thought we just vote up and no recommendation.
Now we have less than this.
Yeah, well, that's right, that's a
It's an
new
option.
thing of that.
Yeah, beautiful.
The de minimis amount of de minimis. Okay. The clerk shall call the roll.
All right, Senator Ruth,
Yes.
Senator Brennan, yes, Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Norris,
Debbie.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Westman,
Yeah, you're gonna let me vote this time.
you're in your seat, yes. Senator Burks,
Yes.
It's kind of hard.
we'll let it vote on so.
Well, there were long stretches of time where I had my voting rights
And you, that's even when you were here.
specifically.
Okay. Less de minimis always makes sense.
And you were in, Bill had the connection to do list, you missed out on like, oh, man.
You could have dented some of my solution again.
Uh-oh. Is that good or bad?
Okay, so now Counselor Dell is here. We can take up the OPR bill.
Yeah.
What we got?
Mine might be big.
Yeah, I don't, that's miscellaneous.
Unless you went over it? Yeah.
So. First,
Yes, please join us.
people that.
Thank you for having me, committee members. Tim Dutton, Legislative Council, and I'm here to speak on H588, miscellaneous.
There is a fiscal note.
And I can start by just saying that there are no appropriations in this bill. I think the closest thing to it was the elimination of an advisory committee where some members received per diems. It's the closest thing I can.
Yeah, the fiscal note is pretty brief.
It's eggs.
It could result in $15,000 of revenue. And after 40,000 revenue by 2029. So it's just about revenue. There's a fee, there's a new academic therapist license with a fee of $0.
Academic dentist. What's an academic
Revenue.
dentist? Is that somebody in dental school?
Teacher, that's true. I don't know if it's a teacher or the student.
Somebody's contemplating opening up a new dental school somewhere in Vermont, and this is a specific license for academics. They'll be under supervision of
We have a
license.
set of dental schools. We need dentists.
So there'll be some work from OPR to do an academic dentist license, but it's $0. So there's an impact on OPR's budget. Maybe that's. We don't know.
Anything I've done, you're speculating.
I could volunteer to be your dentist.
Is there any bill?
There is a new fee for massage therapist establishments. And then there's some rearranging of fees.
Like a new fee, meaning higher fee? Like an increase or different
fees.
So they have two fees.
Did you comments? It did go to finance.
It is,
Yeah.
because all these things like. So.
32 pages long, because that's usually the OPR bill.
Right.
That's just all about like small changes. Senator Brandon?
Is the fee you mentioned for massage therapists for the establishment? Because we licensed them a couple of years ago.
They are currently registered.
Right.
And they are registration fees, and this would introduce an additional fee for the establishments, in addition to those registered. It's kind of a 3-tier, depending on how size the operation.
Does this come through your?
No.
This,
No,
this
we did it.
co-ops?
We did it several years ago when the massage therapist was being put in place, but we didn't listen.
This, the strike all amendment that came over from, that was put together by the Senate Government Operations Committee, and then it went to finance for fees. It's been its course so far. So.
Okay, Senator Lyons?
Is there any fund established in the Secretary of State's office in that bill?
This bill does not address the specific special funds or fund that.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, if there isn't anything,
I think we're right there with you. That's what
and would you say a lot of the changes are technical?
This is the OPR bill's a housekeeping bill.
Right.
There are certainly many it's full of substance and technical changes. I've put together a overview for the committee if you're really curious as to the bill entails, but it just got a sample from the list here. Things like rescissions of licenses, certain modifications to capture attempted fraudulent deceptive procurement or use of license versus just actual misconduct there. Various adjustments to who can be on the boards. Certainly some correction of terminology, which would be technical. Creation of the new academic dentist license, and then some profession-specific adjustments having to do with prerequisites for testing for CPAs, pharmacists and pharmacist assistants, what they can administer, tests and subsequent treatments.
Some, let's see, other for, records for just licensure and some pseudo rules of the OPR can adopt, and then the elimination.
Funeral director part, allowing these new ways of dispose of the dead human bodies that we already dealt with somewhere else, that's just adding to the definition.
Exactly. And then sunrise report to be put together by OPR to take a look at speech language pathology assistance, massage establishments, we're supposed to do that, and then it's more medical practice, the criminal background checks, which are professions in manner similar to OPR, that's technical changes as well. So it's a mixed bag of housekeeping.
Midwise, almost like you. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we can entertain a motion to move the bill through. Or move the bill in any way you want.
I would move to go favor.
Okay. Any comments in the clerk's place?
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I advise against that.
Okay. Senator Baruch.
Yes.
Senator Brennan, yes. Senator Lyons.
Yes.
Senator Norris.
Yes.
Senator Watson.
Yes.
Senator Westman.
Yep.
Senator Perchland.
Yes.
Reporter.
OPR.
I just did too. Somebody else.
Yeah, Alliance is already the.
I got two.
He didn't say no. He didn't say no.
I've got one on the calendar.
Now
Me
you got
too.
two.
Forgot.
It's official.
Who's doing it?
Oh, I like that.